Hey, Morning Star. So we just finished up Soul Detox this past weekend, and I sincerely hope and pray that God nudged you to take some action, because I know that just coming to worship on the weekend isn't going to complete all the toxin cleanse that's been holding you back from the joyful, abundant life that God has for you. As I was reflecting this morning on the state of my own soul, I felt like God was laying a phrase on my heart. And that phrase was set aside. At first I thought God was just telling me to be more intentional about setting aside more time to be with Him every day. I spend time with God each day, but sometimes that varies. Sometimes that isn't as long as I want. And I've gotten to the point where I don't want to do my day without God, and I don't want God to do His day without me. So I actually went to my calendar and began to schedule a daily appointment with God. I actually have an appointment on my Outlook calendar with the subject God. And then I thought I was done. I'd set aside time to spend with God, going to be more intentional, going to stretch that out a little bit more, starting every day. But God kept nudging me. Set aside more than your time. In that time with me, Mike, I need you to set aside your thoughts, your calendar, your plans. Lay them all at my feet every day. Let me really be your guide. Let me shepherd you, Mike. Here's my confession. It's a lot easier for me to shepherd others than it is to be shepherded myself. I can find a lot of satisfaction as a pastor coming alongside people, hearing their heart, speaking truth to them, and praying together. What's honestly more difficult is bringing my stuff to God. My stuff oftentimes just feels so trivial and trite compared with headline problems in the world like hunger and AIDS and terrorism and drug and sex trafficking. But God was reminding me this morning, cast your cares on me because I care for you. Yep, He was talking to me. What I'm going through, my soul, my family, the challenges that face me and Morning Star every day in fulfilling our mission and ministry. God says, set aside time. Cast your anxieties, your worries on me. And so that was it. Or so I thought. Just to be more intentional about setting aside my time, and I'll get better setting aside my plans and my agenda and my priorities. And that's when it really began to hit me. What God was telling me to set aside myself. Really, all of me. Allow God to guide me and direct me to really be my shepherd in every area of life. One who will lead me to dangerous places sometimes, who'll call me to take up my cross and sacrifice, where that's just not a metaphor from the Bible. But God will also lead me beside the green pastures, to lie down and in those green pastures beside the still waters. You see, friends, God's my good shepherd, and He really wants to be yours too. Have you noticed that? Have you allowed yourself to be shepherded? Do you trust God enough to set aside your time, to set aside your talent, to set aside your treasure, to set aside your thoughts and your plans and your priorities, to set aside yourself, your life? Jesus said to us, whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for my sake will find it. You see, friends, when we set aside time for God, He teaches us how to set aside worries and fears, our guilt, our grief, our grudges, those hurts and habits and hang-ups, our pride and our anger. And in their place, God's Spirit begins to produce fruit. Fruit like love and joy and peace and patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. Good stuff, right? Friends, that's where God met me today, right where I was, with loads of His grace. And He's helping me take my next step in my spiritual journey. And I pray that you allow Him to do the same, to meet you right where you are today. That you'll trust Him as you step out in faith. And as you do, you'll be the church. And as always, I'll see you in worship this weekend. God bless you.